Hello and welcome to Strategy Blitzed. My name is Rob George and this class is all about giving you the confidence to frame and answer strategic questions. So in this first video, we're going to take you through the basics of strategic thinking. So without further ado, let's crack on. So when we talk about strategic thinking, what we really mean is how do you go about cracking a strategic problem? So I'm going to talk to you a bit about hypothesis-led thinking. Sounds complicated, it isn't. So let's draw it up. In any piece of work with any strategic problem that you're facing, what you're trying to do is go from a point where you start, where it's not done, to a point at the end where it's done. The thing you've got is there's three ways you can do about this. I'm pretty sure two of them are wrong, and what we'll talk about in the hypothesis-led way is the most useful way of approaching strategic problems. So let's take the first one. We've all done this before. You get given a question, you don't quite know the answer, so you dive into your research. You browse the web, you read textbooks, you talk to experts, you gather as much information as humanly possible over a fairly long time. What you then do is you get to a point near the deadline and you go, right, no more time for researching. I'm going to consolidate it, I'm going to pull it all together, and bam, I'm done. We call this approach boiling the ocean. And while sometimes it works, it's got a couple of big drawbacks. One, massive amounts of wasted effort. Loads of the stuff that you research will end up being completely irrelevant to what you're talking about. And two, this is the most important one, it's really difficult to get any help from it. As you're boiling the ocean, at any point in time, if somebody comes up to you and says, hey, what's the answer? What do you think so far? The only thing you can give until that inflection point near the end is something that says, don't know yet, researching, I'm working on it, don't worry, we'll get there. Doesn't do a great job of building trust. The second option you've got is exactly the opposite. So this is one where either you think you know the answer or it seems really simple. So you just very quickly, in the absence of data, get to a point where you think you know the answer and boom, you're done. In the nicest way, we call this go with your gut. I've heard it called other things involving, I don't know, a couple of letters like BS, but this can be a pretty dangerous thing to do if you've not got the data or the logic to back up what you're talking about. So now on to the main event. We think that the best way to approach strategic problem solving is hypothesis-led thinking. What that means is there's 4 stages. The first of these is you take time to really understand and frame and challenge the question. It doesn't feel like you're getting output out of this, but it's such an important thing where it's really easy to go wrong. The second stage is you build a hypothesis. What we mean here is using logic, you have a quick stab at what you think the answer is in a structured way that you can then go away and test. You don't need to have loads of subject matter to come up with a hypothesis, but what it does is get you to a level of form and structure very early on in the process. Then you go away and test it. This is an up and down process. Because you came up with what you thought the answer was in the absence of data, more often than not, you'll be wrong. So what you'll be doing here is you'll be gathering evidence, you'll be talking to people, you'll be running tests and trials, speaking with experts to test your hypothesis to see if it is the right answer. You'll get things wrong, but that'll allow you to refine your hypothesis and make it better next time. Finally, after you finish this testing, you'll get to a point where you're testing things and you're right. At this point, it's about consolidating your answer to finally get you to done. The biggest benefits of this hypothesis-led approach is, one, you don't have the wasted effort of boiling the ocean. So you're being much more targeted in the things that you look at, the sources of data that you're interrogating, the trials that you're running, than you would do if you were just diving into research. Second is you have some level of data backing, so it's not just a gut feel on everything, and that will buy you credibility. And finally, at any point after having built the hypothesis, you can give a much better update of what's going on. You can say, this is what we think the answer is at the moment. We're currently testing this, this, and this. And you can gather feedback from other people and you can inspire a huge amount of confidence. So that's what we're going to be talking about through this. We're going to take exactly these 4 stages and make this the basis of the rest of the course. So over the next few videos, we're going to go through these 4 stages in turn. First, we're going to help you frame your question. Then we're going to help you build your hypothesis. Then we're going to show you ways that you can test that hypothesis before we show you how you can consolidate your answer. This isn't just going to be lots of wonderfully animated PowerPoint slides and me talking over the top of it. There's a job for you guys to do as well. So get your question ready and join me as we'll go and work out how to frame it.